Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about the y-intercept formula. Y equals mx plus b. I'm going to explain in detail more about what are these numbers, m, b, x, y, how do they work in more numerical style. But here I just wanted to tell you how this formula could be used in our real life. Because basically when I'm looking at this formula y mx plus b, I would be like, okay, like who cares? Like how am I gonna use this? How it could be useful to me, right? As a real life example, for example, on saving money, right? If let's say you're having y equals 5x plus 10, I can say that this is a formula that can show me how much I'm going to save money after, let's say, x weeks, sorry, right? Like three weeks, 10 weeks, right? And if I'm saving $5 per week, and I'm starting with $10 as the intercept, how much I will be saving money after X number of weeks. Or as another example, for let's say if you want to rent a bike and then you want to see how much you have to pay for renting a bike, which the renting value starts with a fixed amount as $6 and $3 per week. Sorry, $3 per hour. How much you have to pay for, let's say, X number of hours, right? So generally, in y equal mx plus b, b is the y-intercept. It is the starting amount at when x is 0, and m tells how much y changes each time x increases by 1, just by unit. Let's go have a look at the example. This is just as a representation how we might be using this formula. Let's go to the example and see how we can calculate those numbers, how those numbers can be obtained, how we can change x to get different y's, what is m, what is b, and another way to represent those numbers. Okay, right now I'm going to start with an example. Let's say, well, we had the main formula as mx plus b. This is the original formula for the y-intercept. How we are going to use slope and y-intercept. I'm going to just write them down. This is the slope. This is the y-intercept. And this is input, and y normally is the output. So in my example that I'm going to write it down here as y, let's say, for example, 4x minus 2. I want to compare that to the formula on here and say, how much is my m? So we know that m is the coefficient of x, as in here. So m is 4. And b, which is the y-intercept, is basically how much you have here. Okay? But the how much you have here has to be compared to this guy here. And that guy over there is plus some number. So then I'm going to write it down as in this way, 4x plus, and then I'm writing plus so that I have the same plus here. And then instead of minus 2, I'll just put it plus minus 2, right? Now, this is my b, which is minus 2, right? So then I'm just comparing kind of apple to apple and figure out what is the m and b. And you know, m is the slope and b is the y-intercept. What does that mean? What did they mean, basically? Let's represent these numbers or this formula in a table way, right? I want to show them in a table. I want to say I have an x, I have a y, I have another y, and I want to see if, let's say, I have x 0, how much is my y? And you know y was 4x minus 2. And if I input x as 0, I'm going to have y equals to minus 2. Right? I'm just putting x from here to this formula, right? In order to get the output. X is the input, 0. How much is the output? Minus 2. I'm going to try another input. Let's try x1. Y is 4x minus 2. I'm going to input 1. 4 times 1 minus 2, which is 2. So then y would be 2. Let's just put it down here as a better representation. 0, minus 2, 1, 2. So basically these are pairs, right? I can call it a point. I can call it another point. And then maybe as another representation way, I can show them in a xy coordinate, right? And in xy coordinate, I can show point A and B. What is the x for point A? Is 0. What is y for point A? Minus 2. So then I'm going to represent point A here. And then for point B, I have the x1, I have the y2, y1, 2. So then this is the point B. And what are these gonna? What are these 2 points showing me? So basically, these points are gonna show me, based on this example here, that I can plot 2 points, and from those 2 points I can draw a straight line. Let's just pretend this isn't a straight line, and this formula is the formula to plot that line. Okay, so then what we have done is, like, we are given a formula. We can represent that formula in a table or in xy coordinate as a couple points and a line which is passing through them. Perfect. Now I have a question for you. If I have y equals 6x minus 3, if I have this formula, the question is, how much is m? How much is b? Okay, which you can figure out by comparing that to the main formula in the previous slide. And you can also represent that in a xy coordinate like this. You can also show that in that xy coordinate too, right? I want to know how much is the y-intercept. So 3 questions: how much is m, how much is b, and how much is the y-intercept? And is it different than this? Okay, I want you figure out those numbers. Comment below. If you have any other question, let me know. Ask me down below here. Hopefully I'll get back to you as soon as I can. Have a good day.